What happens when the children of one of the most famous couples in entertainment seem to quietly lean toward one parent? Lately, fans online have been asking that exact question about Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's daughters. Some people think the girls appear closer to their mom, sparking all kinds of conversations about what life inside the family might actually be like. For any dad, even the suggestion of that kind of distance can sting. But the truth behind these rumors is way more complicated, and it all starts with how their love story began. The unexpected love story. Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman's story didn't kick off the way most people imagine. The two first met in 2005 at the Day USA Gala in Los Angeles, an event celebrating Australian talent. Kidman later admitted she assumed Urban simply wasn't interested in her. After that first meeting, weeks went by without a call. Then months. She even joked later that she thought she had completely misread the whole interaction. But eventually, Urban reached out. That phone call changed everything. What started as a simple conversation quickly turned into something much deeper, and the two began spending more time together away from the spotlight. Their relationship moved pretty fast, but people close to them said the connection felt natural right from the start. Less than a year later, on June 25th, 2006, the couple tied the knot in a quiet ceremony in Sydney, surrounded by family and close friends. Almost overnight, they became one of the most talked about couples in entertainment, an Oscar-winning actress and a country music star building a life together. From red carpets to award shows, their relationship looked like one of those rare Hollywood success stories. Fans loved the way they talked about each other with genuine affection. But behind those polished public appearances, their marriage was about to face a challenge that threatened everything they had just started building together. If you enjoy the hidden side of celebrity families, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next story. The crisis that almost ended everything. Just a few months after their wedding, the couple faced a situation that could have easily ended their marriage before it even got properly started. In October 2006, Keith Urban made the decision to enter a treatment program to address long-standing struggles with substance use. The news caught a lot of fans off guard, especially since the couple had only recently gotten married. But instead of stepping away, Nicole Kidman stood firmly by her husband during that difficult time. She publicly supported his decision to seek help and spoke about how important it was for him to focus on recovery. Urban would later look back on that period with remarkable honesty. In interviews, he said Kidman's support played a huge role in helping him rebuild both his life and his career. According to him, that moment forced them to face reality together instead of hiding from it. The experience strengthened their relationship in ways very few outsiders could fully understand. It wasn't glamorous, and it definitely wasn't easy, but it created a foundation built on trust and resilience. Years later, Urban would describe that chapter as a turning point, not just for his health, but for their marriage too. And once that storm finally passed, their lives took another major turn that changed their priorities forever. Soon, the couple entered the next chapter of their journey, becoming parents. The two daughters who changed their world. In 2008, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman welcomed their first daughter, Sunday Rose Kidman Urban, a moment that opened a completely new chapter in their lives. Both have spoken about how becoming parents reshaped their priorities and gave their lives meaning beyond career success. 2 years later, in 2010, their second daughter, Faith Margaret Kidman Urban, joined the family through surrogacy. While the couple shared the news publicly, they remained careful about how much of their daughters' lives they revealed to the public. From day one, Urban and Kidman made a clear effort to protect their children from the intense spotlight that often follows celebrity families. Much of their life centered around Nashville, while they also maintained close ties to Australia, hoping to give their daughters a grounded upbringing away from Hollywood's nonstop attention. Friends of the couple have often described their home life as surprisingly private despite their worldwide fame. School routines, family time, and quiet moments together were treated as top priorities whenever their packed schedules allowed. Even so, growing up with two internationally famous parents naturally attracts attention. And as the girls got older, that attention started creating more curiosity online. Growing up with two famous parents. Growing up in the urban Kidman family meant living between two demanding careers. Keith Urban is a global country music star whose work often keeps him on the road for months at a time, performing in arenas around the world. Nicole Kidman, meanwhile, is an Academy Award-winning actress whose projects regularly take her to film sets in different countries for long stretches. Balancing those careers while raising two daughters required constant coordination. Travel schedules, filming commitments, concert tours, and school life all had to somehow fit together. Both Urban and Kidman have said in interviews that protecting family time became one of their biggest priorities. Despite their fame, people close to the couple have often described their home life as surprisingly down-to-earth. Much of their family time has centered around Nashville, where life moves at a calmer pace than Hollywood. Their goal was simple: give their daughters a childhood that felt as normal as possible. But as Sunday and Faith grew older and occasionally appeared in public with their parents, fans began paying closer attention. And that attention soon sparked a wave of curiosity online. The moments fans began noticing. As the Urban Kidman daughters got older, fans started paying closer attention to the rare glimpses the family shared with the public. Nicole Kidman occasionally attended film premieres and industry events where one or both daughters appear beside her. Photos from those appearances spread widely online, and many people commented on how comfortable the girls seemed with their mother during those moments. At the same time, public appearances with Keith Urban appeared less frequent. Urban's career revolves mostly around touring and recording, environments that are very different from film premieres and red carpet events. Because of that, the girls simply aren't seen in those settings as often. But once fans started comparing those appearances, conversations began popping up online. Some people wondered whether the daughters naturally spent more time with their mother, while others pointed out that public events rarely tell the whole story of a family's private life. Those discussions got even louder when certain entertainment reports started repeating the idea. One article even mentioned claims that the daughters appeared to support their mother during difficult moments in the family's life. Still, it's important to remember that these ideas mostly came from public observations and online speculation, not from confirmed statements made by the family themselves. But once those conversations started spreading across the internet, they led to a much bigger question that fans kept asking. If this story has you hooked, subscribe for more deep dives into the lives behind the headlines. Rumors about family tension. As the online conversations continued growing, celebrity gossip outlets occasionally threw in their own theories and added fuel to the discussion. Some reports suggested that the couple's demanding careers could create stress over time. Between long film shoots for Kidman and extended concert tours for Urban, their schedules often require them to spend weeks, or sometimes even months, working in different places. For most couples, that kind of distance can already be pretty tough. And when both partners are internationally known stars with packed schedules and non-stop work commitments, the pressure can hit even harder. Because of that, some entertainment outlets started speculating that the pair might occasionally struggle to balance their professional lives with family time. A few reports even claimed the couple sometimes spends long stretches apart because of work obligations. However, it's important to point out that neither Keith Urban nor Nicole Kidman has ever publicly confirmed any serious problems within their marriage. In fact, whenever they've been asked about their relationship in interviews, both have usually spoken about it with warmth, respect, and appreciation. That contrast between what they say publicly and what people speculate about online has kept the conversation going. But despite the rumors that pop up from time to time, the couple themselves have often shared a message that sounds very different from the stories people assume. Keith Urban's emotional comments about fatherhood. Whenever Keith Urban talks about his daughters, his tone tends to become much more personal. In interviews, he's described fatherhood as one of the most important parts of his life. Before becoming a parent, music pretty much took up most of his world. Touring, recording, performing, the whole deal. But he has said everything changed once his daughters were born. Urban has explained that family quickly became his top priority, even with all the demands of his career. Staying connected with his daughters is something he's always said means a great deal to him. At the same time, he and Nicole Kidman have made a clear effort to keep their daughters out of the spotlight. Unlike many celebrity families, they rarely share details about their children's lives. Because of that privacy, some fans assume Urban may be less present. But in reality, keeping his daughters away from public attention may simply be his way of protecting their childhood. Even so, the limited public appearances have continued to fuel speculation online. The internet's theory, choosing sides. Once the idea started making the rounds online, social media quickly amplified it. In today's digital world, even the smallest detail can suddenly turn into a huge narrative. A single photo from a premiere or a short clip from an event can spark thousands of comments within hours. And that's exactly what happened here. Every time the daughters appeared with Nicole Kidman at a public event, people online started drawing their own conclusions. Some viewers suggested the girls seemed especially close to their mother, while others argued that public appearances don't necessarily reflect what goes on in a family's everyday life. Another factor that added fuel to the discussion was the way reports described the family's living arrangements. Some articles suggested the daughters spend most of their time with Nicole Kidman, leading many fans to assume they might naturally feel closer to her. One report discussing the family situation mentioned that the daughters were believed to spend the majority of the year living with their mother while still maintaining a relationship with Keith Urban. For many viewers, information like that seemed to support the theory that the girls had quietly chosen sides. But plenty of others pushed back against that idea, reminding people that parenting arrangements and public appearances rarely reveal the full picture of family relationships. At that point, the story became less about confirmed facts and more about how people interpreted the limited pieces of information they could actually see. Why celebrity kids often appear closer to one parent. When people look at celebrity families from the outside, it's easy to form opinions based only on what appears in public. But what's visible isn't always the full reality. Sometimes the parent who appears closer is simply the one whose career involves more public events. Nicole Kidman's work regularly includes film premieres, award shows, and industry gatherings where family members occasionally attend. When her daughters appear beside her at those events, the photos spread quickly online, creating the impression that they spend most of their time together. Keith Urban's world works a little differently. His career mostly takes place on concert stages, inside recording studios, or during rehearsals, places that rarely involve red carpets or heavy media coverage. Because of that, the time he spends with his daughters usually isn't captured publicly in the same way. This difference in visibility can create a pretty misleading picture. One parent shows up frequently in photos while the other stays mostly out of sight, even if both play equally important roles at home. And when public appearances become the main source of information for fans, perception can quickly start replacing reality. Yet whenever Keith Urban talks about his daughters, the emotion in his voice often points to something much deeper. Keith Urban's real perspective. Throughout many interviews over the years, Keith Urban has spoken openly about how much his family means to him. Despite the fame, the awards, and the non-stop pace of life in the music industry, he often describes home as the place where he feels most grounded. Urban has said more than once that his daughters changed the way he views success. For him, accomplishments in music are meaningful, but they don't compare to the role he plays as a father. He has described his family as the anchor that keeps him steady, especially during the crazy pace of touring and recording. He has also talked about the kind of father he hopes to be. Stability, support, and presence are values he brings up often. Even when work requires him to travel, he has said that staying emotionally connected with his daughters remains a top priority. That perspective paints a very different picture from the speculation that sometimes circulates online. While fans may debate what they see in photos or public appearances, Urban's own words consistently point toward a deep commitment to his family. And that brings us back to the question many observers keep asking: what's really happening behind the scenes? Beyond the small glimpses the public gets to see? The bottom line, the reality behind the rumors. At the end of the day, the idea that Keith Urban's daughters may have chosen sides appears to come mostly from online speculation rather than confirmed facts. Celebrity families live under a microscope, and even small moments, like a public appearance or a single photo, can quickly turn into major assumptions. But the truth is, the public only sees a tiny fraction of these families' lives. What happens behind closed doors, the everyday moments that truly shape relationships, usually remains private. For Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, protecting that privacy has always been a priority, especially when it comes to their daughters. Sometimes what looks like distance from the outside may actually be something completely different. It could simply be a family trying to give their children the chance to grow up without constant attention from the world. And that raises an interesting question. When we see celebrity families through brief public glimpses, how much of the story are we actually seeing? And how much are we filling in ourselves? Let me know what you think. Do you believe public appearances can reveal the real story about a family? Or do you think people often read too much into what they see online? And if you enjoy stories like this, be sure to subscribe and join the conversation for more videos just like this.